Welcome to Soul Rising. We're your hosts, Amy and Erin. We're two everyday mediums who are passionate about taking the woo-woo out of spirituality and bringing it down to earth. So put the kettle on, grab a chair, and join us.
Hello!
Hey, welcome to episode 24.
Welcome to 24.
Let me get my, oh my goodness, coughing. Let me get my microphone out. Test.
I'm feeling 24. Sorry, Taylor Swift. Wow, guys.
The energy.
Yeah, it's the energy, which is what we're talking about today.
Yeah, and it's funny too, because last night Erin and I were chatting and we were like, the energy right now is like, I'm going to laugh hysterically. You know, when you're like overtired and you just want to fall on the floor and you laugh about everything. There's
like everything's hilarious.
Everything's hilarious and or cry. So maybe both.
And it's a roll of the dice. Are you going to cry? Are you going to laugh today? Who knows?
Yeah.
I think today we're going to have the giggles, but
maybe that's okay. Had them yesterday too, like just because I was so tired.
Yeah.
So overtired. Speaking of overtired, my husband and I have had like a almost 20-year debate on this. He doesn't think that overtired is a real word, and it's literally in the dictionary. But he's like, you can't be overtired. You're tired or you're not tired. Like, no, you can be overtired.
No, you could be overtired. Because there's
a
difference between being like, oh, I'm tired today, you know, maybe didn't get much sleep, or I'm just exhausted, which I feel like is like overtired, right?
Yeah,
because that feels
like I've passed the limit.
Yeah.
And now I'm just going to be ridiculous because I'm beyond tired. But he just thinks it sounds funny. Like he's like, you can't be more than tired. I'm like, yes, you can.
Scott, we've reached our threshold of tiredness. Okay. The whole world is overtired, I think.
I think so. I think we're all exhausted. That's kind of what our episode is about today. You know, Erin and I often base our episodes based on kind of what's going on in our life or what's coming up in our lives or that of our clients or, you know, people like what people ask for. Because we definitely, when you are kind of in touch and work with and are aware with energy, you definitely start to see themes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the theme right now is overtiredness.
That's the name of our episode. So Scott, I don't want to hear any peanut gallery comments from you, okay?
That's funny.
Thanks, Scott.
So
also thank you for all your hard work.
Exactly. Thank you, Scott. Scott wants to take over, stop his other job and just be our like little groupie and set up and does all that, and I'm here for it.
It's like that. Have you ever listened to like some podcasts have like the person that does the editing, but they still like come in and interject, and so you can be that person.
We should get him to interject. Oh, this is it. Okay, so if you're listening to this right now, back when a few minutes ago when Erin said, I don't want any peanut gallery from you, Scott, maybe Scott will have intercepted his voice or something.
Ooh, yeah. Hey. I think that's a good idea.
So I think today we talked about talking about spring energy. So we are, in the midst of spring now. We're well in it, although it doesn't feel like it yet. It's
at least not here in Ontario.
Snow the other day. Did you guys get snow?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we had less than you, I think, because I saw some friends that were like flying out of the airport and it was like pretty snowy. It was less.
My friend got back from Italy and she was like, she got back from coming into the snow and she was like, wow, what a great welcome back. Like, yeah, sorry about that.
It's always that one last hurrah, right? Hopefully that will be the last one this year until, the winter, the late fall comes. So, we're going to talk about the energy of spring.
It's my card. And we were
what it's like.
Yeah.
And where we're going. So, taking us into June. before summer happens. So I always think it's in the summer anyways, but it's technically it's mostly spring. So
but it's like that in between, right? It's like
yeah.
that.
Yeah, it's funny.
Coming
June is
out of
probably one of my favorite months. Like October is absolutely my favorite month ever. But I think June might be my second favorite month. There's something about June. I'm a big fan of the transition months and the transition like weather. I like that in between, and June is just like, I don't know, you get like the late evenings and all the buds, and I know that's when my lilac bushes are in full bloom.
Yes. Oh, okay, wait, can we just, for speaking of lilacs,
yeah, Sorry?
my baby niece was born
Her name Lilac.
and her name's Lily, sorry.
Lily, okay.
Lily. But they did name her after a flower because so Alex's mom, so this was my brother and sister-in-law.
Yeah.
Just had a baby, and Alex's mom is named after a flower, and so is my sister-in-law. Her mom's named after a flower. And so they went with Lily, and she was born on April 17th of Easter. And I'm just gonna show a picture because I am like goo goo gaga. I'm obsessed. And I have to stop myself because I keep sending pictures of her to like my friends and my mom. Every time Alex sends me a picture, I'm like, look at her.
Yeah, like she's yours.
Yeah, like she's
wait till you have your own and you'll be like, oh my God, you'll be like showing straight.
Oh my God, these pictures. I don't even know which one to show.
Lily, and like on Easter Sunday, and it's like you think of lilies with Easter. Oh my, it's you know what? She does not look like a newborn baby.
No, she eight. I don't know if I could say it. 8.5 pounds. Like, look,
yeah, mine were in that range too. But like her smile, and she's so cute. In the last picture, she doesn't look like a newborn. Looks like, a couple weeks old at least.
They were saying she's already starting to just hold her head up.
Yeah. What's funny is I like on TikTok and stuff, I've seen different videos of people going, like there was this kind of, what is it called? Not a theme, a trend, that's what I was looking for, of like pandemic babies. And there's like a voiceover that says these pandemic babies, man, like they're not the same. And a lot of those videos are babies that are like 2 days old, holding their heads up and like trying to pull themselves up and stuff. And it's like, there's something different about these pandemic babies. You never know.
You never know. They were the joy and the hope that we needed coming in.
Absolutely. And it's so cool. It's so cool because we talked about pulling a card at the beginning of this episode to kind of start this energy forecast off. And I already pulled it. I actually was shuffling as you were looking for your picture. And the card is about strength. But literally power, strength, force, and expansion.
Whoa.
And we're talking about, pandemic babies being stronger and holding their heads up.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. So yeah.
Just wait till you see what I pulled. Sorry, you go ahead.
Me go ahead, and then you.
Yeah.
Okay, so the what we're doing here is we're just kind of giving. I feel like this card is representing kind of where we're at right now. Like this, I want to say, like, I keep hearing 6 weeks. So the next 6 weeks, so that takes us into, right around the end of the springtime anyhow. So I just keep hearing 6 weeks. I feel like we're in this space. So this says Baraka. I feel like it's pronounced Baraka. Baraka.
It's a beautiful card too.
It's
look at
gorgeous. This deck is beautiful. Those of you on YouTube, it's called Pure Magic Oracle. So this is about, power, force, and clarity. And so it says, as you learn the word of Baraka, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, you are signaled to remember that your source of energy is held in nature. So interesting. Springtime nature, everything's kind of renewing, right? Mm-hmm. Are you connected to nature's loving core, or have you moved beyond its reaches? Put down the distractions and move back into the wild, even if just for a little while. For every good turn done for you, do in return. Whatever you feel your life has whenever you feel your life has been enriched, do what you can to enrich another. This is ultimately your magic, your life, your choice, and your responsibility. So this is really about reclaiming your power, realizing how powerful you are, realizing how impactful you are, reflecting on your strength. And I feel like it's a lot to do with grounding, getting back in touch with kind of like what's important to you, spending time outside, right?
Yeah. Oh, that's huge.
Huge. Spending time outside.
Especially if you're feeling tired and, I find like
because
that vitamin.
I use the word renewal. Right. Which is like when you're feeling yesterday in a reading I did, it came up about, there was this example used about, almost like the person was plugging their phone, like as if like their energy was their phone, and they were plugging the phone in just long enough so that they could use it again, but it never really reaching a full charge.
Yeah.
And it was kind of talking about, like this person's rest and sleep and all this kind of stuff. So I feel like that just came back in for me as a symbol for kind of what collectively we're feeling like. We're kind of running on empty. We're just kind of like charging just enough to get back at it and do it, but never really feeling fully rested or renewed, which is perfect, because we're talking about that's exactly how we've been feeling lately. And so, as much as April, like this whole month, I felt April's been an energy of like, go get them, like let's get stuff done. And I do feel that way, but there needs to be a balance. I just feel like it's been imbalanced of trying to get stuff done, because the energy does feel like momentum to me. I've heard this all month. I don't know if you resonate with that. It feels like things are happening and things are happening fast. So there's a momentum, and we're almost getting like caught up in it, and it's like a swirl, and it's almost like I need to put my feet on the ground for just a little bit and find some balance. So that's the guidance I feel that wants to come in for you for the next like 6 weeks for the spring. Yeah, outside, and like the good deed thing, be grateful. Something this is kind of off topic, but nothing's really ever off topic, I don't think, when we talk about
not around here.
This morning I was just I made a story on my Instagram, and it was essentially saying, today I get to, and then I listed the things that I wanted that I get to do, including this. And I was planning to make a quick little short like reel about it, because it's been actually huge for me to reframe in the morning that way, like rather than go, oh, today I have to do all this, instead going, today I get to. You still have to do it, but it's like this mindset shift where it's like comes from a place of gratitude, like I get to do this. And I'm grateful to do it, right? Like it's just this mindset shift. Nothing changes in the sense of like what you have to do, but the way you kind of think about it changes. And, we're big advocates of how powerful our thoughts are in how we speak them. So when we speak to ourselves, when we reframe things like that, it can actually make a huge difference energetically. Because if you come at something from a lens of gratitude, which, saying today I get to do this, that's showing gratitude, right? Energetically. And we know that when we tap into a place of gratitude for where we are, even if it's not where we always want to be, that we actually open ourselves up to more good to come, because we're coming from a place of gratitude. So I just wanted to share that little tidbit because it's helped me so much. It really
absolutely.
Yeah.
So I pulled a card. Well, I didn't pull it. It like kind of came out of the shuffle. And then just after like I had shown the picture of my baby niece, I just flipped to the book to try to find it, but guess what it landed on? The womb.
Of course.
So I thought, I was like,
you were like,
okay, well, I think it's this card. So I was just sort of looking through the deck for the card. So So the womb, so I'll just show the card here, and it's beautiful. And this is from the Wild Unknown. It's the Archetypes Guidebook, which was actually gifted to me by Aida Heston, who does our music for this. So shout out to Aida. She's a talented musician. And she got me this deck.
That's so nice.
Yeah. And so we got the womb here. And it says, the womb, everything has an origin story. The womb archetype asks us to complete the beginning beyond the beginning. That's kind of funny because we were talking about beyond tired. The mother, I feel like that's a little like a joke from Spirit. The mother beyond mother, in a world that often negates the power and necessity of feminine principles, this card returns us to the warmth, tenderness, and sacred intelligence from which we came. It is a card of receiving, not achieving, of accepting love from the mother of us all. She is the life-giving force that forgives and cherishes even the most wounded and desperate soul. No matter how lost you are, the womb waits your return to help you heal and grow. This card is a call to keep things simple, to return, to be reborn in the name of love. The womb is everywhere. It is beyond gender, beyond time. We are within it as it is within us. And some key words here are nourishment, harmony, warmth, and love. So I really love this, especially because we were also talking about, Amy just mentioned, being in a place of gratitude. And I feel like these words here, it is a card of receiving, not achieving. So about like,
Thank you.
Yeah. Right.
As we're talking about how the energy, it feels a bit like momentum, right?
Yes.
Like, let's get stuff done, and certainly run with that, but make sure you're finding balance. And, like, I felt like a lot of the keywords and the things you're talking about also made me feel like nature and the womb and like Mother Earth, and how Mother Earth is kind of like reawakening a little bit, like growing and renewal, and there's nourishment and the sun and the rain and all the things that the spring represents.
Yes.
So that's really cool.
Yes, and actually the card that just sort of flew out, so maybe they're just in tied with one another, was the Judge card, and that card is all about balance.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Yeah, this happens with our cards. Ooh. We'll like start talking about something specific in the episode, and then the cards will come up and be like, boom.
Boom. Exactly.
That's like in readings. Do you find that too? Like when you're doing client readings, it's like, boom. Like it's exactly what they need.
Especially if what I love too is I'll like say some things, I'll give the messages, and then I'm like, let's pull cards on this. Let's get some more confirmation here. And it's literally repeating what was just said.
Yeah.
And I love when that happens. And I'm like, don't you love that? Because there we go. We're asking for confirmation. The cards are just giving it to us. Right? Like, what are, and I always tell people, we work a lot with probability. Like if you think about,
probabilities. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Like, what are the chances? Let's put it out that way, So I always tell people too, when we're giving readings, if you're thinking it and we're bringing it through, that's just extra validation for you.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah. I don't know what you're thinking. Yeah. Right? I have no idea. So, right. I don't know you. You're strangers to me. Right.
Yeah. We got to do an episode, I think, about this, about like, we've touched on it here and there a little bit over time, but like some like misconceptions about readings, yes. Or like when you talked about the card pull and how it validates. And we just had a conversation yesterday about this. We're kind of giving you a little bit of behind the scenes of our conversations we have sometimes, like when you're say, for instance, give an example of a client that, wants to say like book all the time.
Yeah.
Like book within a very short amount of time.
Time.
Oh, okay. I got that and you gave me that answer, but now I'm looking for more. And, as if it's something about the same thing and the timing is really close, I think Erin and I both, we care enough about our clients that we don't I feel like both of us would reach out and go, you know what, like it's kind of close to what we just did. We're probably going to get the same answer again. Like, let's let some time go by, rather than just like, you know, pull and maybe not get anything different.
No. Well, that's a huge question I'm sure you get. You know, it's like, okay, how often should I come?
You're like, how often is too often?
Like, please, this is not therapy. I'm glad you find it a therapeutic experience.
Yeah.
I'm not a licensed therapist.
Yeah.
And so in saying that, like, I always tell people, I would say like 2 times, twice, if that. I think 3 is, I think within, I think twice is like, it's so hard to tell though. You know, I never want to say to people like
readings.
Yeah.
The same kind of reading, like maybe 2 of the same, like, I think a lot we're talking about would be like more of a psychic or intuitive guidance
reading.
Because do you think if somebody wanted to come, like, say quarterly to connect with their loved one, that wouldn't be too much? I don't think so.
I think it depends on the person too, right? Yeah. Like if you feel in your heart of hearts, you're like, listen, I really feel like I need just some extra guidance. I think I need some clarity on some stuff, you know, that maybe previously came through, and you're feeling within, okay, I should go for a reading. By all means, book, but I never want to suggest to people reach out to me like more than is needed, more than is necessary, because and we were talking about this too, if we're asking, and I've experienced this with cards, like if I'm asking the same question, and I have, guilty, especially previously, you know, when I was like going into my love life, I was like, where is he? You know, I was always pulling cards constantly. Okay. And the cards would literally say the same thing. And then it reached a point where it was just like mixed messages. And I was like, I don't know what's going on. Because Erin,
you already got the answer.
You already got the answer. Yeah. You're asking the same question. Your energy is all bejumbled. And now the cards is all bejumbled. Are all bejumbled.
Yeah, because the cards are reflective of your energy.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. And we're tapping into your energy, right?
Yes. Yeah. No, I think that's really important because you know, like we've all like pulled a card or, you know, something, and it's like, oh, I don't like that answer. And then you shuffle again, you get the same card again. Like the answer is the answer. Yes, like we can't make it different.
Yeah. I mean, I know some readers who will say to people, you know, either just once a year, or they'll say to people, they'll just give one reading and that's it.
Per person.
Just
wow.
once.
Interesting.
I think I've only heard about that once. His name is, I think some people might have heard of him, Chip Coffee, and I don't know if you've heard of him, but
I have heard of him before. Does he do that? That's interesting. Yeah. No, I love repeat clients because you know, I built and I feel like you have too, because you're so similar to me in reading style. I built relationships with
absolutely
my clients. So I love repeat, and I love to revisit things, and I love to like experience energetically the growth from like the last time you've been here to whoa, like there's been a lot of changes. I love
because if you're giving, it's like, it's so cool, you know, when this happens, when somebody comes back to you and they're like, Erin or Amy, like, let me tell you, since our last reading, like things you have said, you know, maybe not everything, but like things you've said have come to fruition, or things have like actually happened. Like I've had one person, I don't know what it is. It feels like practically every time I see them, it's like word for word. It's like everything. And she's just like, it's like, they're like, it's like flabbergasted. And I'm like, I'm even blown away by it. Right?
Yes. Yeah. I love it. That reminds me about maybe a week or two ago, a client who I'd read for, I think just once, maybe in a one-on-one setting, but like I in group settings and things like that, I've read for her. So we did a reading last year. I believe it was intuitive guidance, and some things came up about like potential skill sets and potential like possible career avenues that would be really well suited for her. And it wasn't coming across as like, you must do this. It was like food for thought.
Yeah.
And so this would have been like over a year ago, like probably about 13, 14 months ago that we did this reading. And she reached out about a week and a half ago, and she's like, so you brought through that, like, I'm not going to give specifics, but one, you brought through this, that would be a good idea for my partner and I, we've been doing it. It's been wonderful. And then the second thing was, you brought up a specific career that I hadn't ever thought about before, ever.
Mm-hmm.
But after you mentioned it, I started to kind of look into it and read more about it. And I discovered that actually it was really super aligned with me and what I would like to do. And it's just something I never thought about. And she's like, so I applied for a job in that and I got it. And I was like, yay, it's amazing. So it's just like, I think that's a good example too of like, when we bring something through, right? We're not fortune tellers, right? I don't think that's how this works, really. No. I think it's one of those misconceptions we can talk about one day. The probabilities, nothing's set in stone, right? It's really probable for you. Yes. And that's meant to encourage you. Like, if you want that, go get them. Like, you can have that. That is there for you.
Yes.
Right? Like, when you think about all the possible parallels or like different paths one could take, like that represents one of them.
Yes, I just heard guided self-exploration.
Awesome. Yeah. So it's like we're giving you that little it's like we're not giving you the step-by-step roadmap, right? Like, we are not I
wish I could do that in my own life.
Yeah, but we've talked about this too. Like, there's an awareness of knowing that we can't know everything that's coming, because it takes away the growth and the evolution that's needed. Like, that's why we're here to kind of, so we can be guided. We can have help from people in various forms, whether it's like a guidance counselor, a therapist, like a trusted friend, a stranger on the street who says something and gives you direction, a medium. Like, there's plenty of helpers in the world, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Through others. Do you find that?
Yeah.
Sometimes a client will say something to me and I'll be like last year, like I think it was now almost 2 years ago with probably a year and a half ago with the book, like when I was part of the book collection that I was published in, that had been on my radar for many, many, many years that I wanted to publish. And I was overwhelmed with the thought of like, how do I get myself published as like nobody knows me, right? As an author, like, how do I go about that?
How do I do that?
And a client in a reading randomly at the end said, have you ever thought about like writing a book or sharing your story? And I was like, yeah. And she just randomly said it. And she said, I
randomly in quotes,
randomly, right? Like, and I said, Spirit's speaking through you right now. They are, because I needed to hear that. And so, I just want people to be aware of that too. Like, we can get messages from many people, and it's just about paying attention and how it feels.
Yes, that's huge.
Yeah. I feel like people like when we talk about TV too, like I've heard that a few times, and I know we've talked about, what's his name? Tyler Henry's show.
Yeah.
And I recommended a show to Erin about a week ago that I was watching on Netflix.
Oh, I haven't watched it yet. I have to watch it.
Yeah. The only reason it's coming to mind is because I talked about parallels. So the show is literally it's not called Parallels. That's another show that I was watching on Disney. There's a show called Parallels on Disney that is like from France. Okay. That's a cool show too. No, the one I'm thinking about is called If I Hadn't Met You, or If I Didn't Meet You. I think it's If I Hadn't Met You.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And it's on Netflix currently in Canada. And it's like shot in Barcelona. So there's subtitles, but you can like listen to English language. You can, you don't have to listen to the Spanish. Anyways, it's about parallel universes, and like the things are happening all at the same time, so and it's interesting because a client of mine had reached out about a week or so ago and asked this question about parallels. So I recommended the show to her to watch it, but it was this she wanted more clarity on the difference between spirit and soul. Because she's like, is it kind of like, so if my mom is gone here, I guess this is just like something, I'll just put it out to you. Maybe we'll have a little open discussion before we leave for today. But so if somebody passes in this lifetime, right? What do you think about the idea that they're alive in another parallel universe and they've only passed in this one? Do you think so? Yeah.
Listen, I just feel like if you can think it, it's happening. I because who are we to say? Every time I talk to spirit. Every time I'm like, I tap in or something, I like something deeper comes up, right? Something
Yeah.
about like, well, and I think we've talked about this even with past lives, that it doesn't necessarily have to be this one version of you, right? That like is a living a life, that maybe a past life really means I'm living another life at the same moment in the past. And it's all just happening in different timelines. Whoa, right?
Yeah, and that brings me back to that book that I've talked about quite a few times, A Course in Miracles, and how I had been reading some other books kind of based on those teachings. One is called The Disappearance of the Universe, and the other is called Jesus and Buddha Were Friends in a past life. And that kind of teaches that there are, the question was asked, are there past lives? Like, is that truth? And it came through, yes, but it's not in the sense that it's happened before, it's happening at the same time. So it is another life of yours, right? Yes. It's just not in the sense of like you 5,000 years ago, like, but in the same sense, like maybe 5,000 years ago is now in a parallel universe.
In a parallel universe. Right? Well, you know what, my mom, and I don't think she'll mind me sharing this, but what came through once with my mom during a reading was, or when I was like reading her, she was asking about past lives. And I said, and she was like, I forget what the question was, something about, have I lived previous lives here on Earth? And the answer was, yes, but this is your first time in this reality of Earth.
Ooh.
How's that? Everybody's gonna go we're gonna go so deep down the rabbit hole right now. Everybody's probably like, what are they talking about?
I live in the rabbit hole.
I love it. Like,
I love it.
If there's so many, we always say to people, like, if we knew all the answers, our brains would explode. There's no way that we would be able to hold all the information.
Yeah, our human brains, they're not even capable of understanding it all. Like, yeah. Like I said, we just dip our toes in.
And it's true, though. It's true, right? Our brains only retain so much. And there's like different parts of the brain that we don't know a lot about, right? Like, I feel like that's still,
there's so much we don't know yet about.
So much we don't know. And our eyes can only see so much, right?
I don't know if I brought this up on a past episode or not, but it actually comes again from the book I was just referencing, where there's this thought put out, and it's like, okay, think about it. When you're dreaming, you're seeing like what you're dreaming, right? Like it feels as if you're probably seeing it with your eyeballs, right? But you're seeing something, it's visual, but your eyes are closed. So, and then you wake up and your eyes open, and you assume that it means because your eyes are open, you're seeing with your eyeballs. But what if you're not seeing with your actual eyes? You're seeing with the same thing that you see with when you dream. And that for me, I was like,
I got goosebumps.
I don't even know right now. Like, it just took me right down the rabbit hole. But it's an interesting question, right? Like,
yeah.
And it's not to say, I had this talk with my son, actually, who's 13 and very interested in all these things. And his mind was blown for a minute, for sure. And he's like, yeah, I think that's possible. And he's like, well, how do you explain like when people are blind? And I don't know, like, that's more food for that. I don't know. I was like, that's something I gotta think about. I guess maybe, I don't know. How would you explain that?
Like, people who,
like, so if we're seeing with something, but they still can see in their head though, right? Like, blind people can still visualize things, do they not?
I think there's different, like, on the spectrum of blindness, I feel like there's different, like, right? Because you can be partially blind, but you can be fully blind. I don't know the answer to that.
I don't know either.
And I don't want to like make any assumptions or say anything, but
yeah, I don't know that either.
But I do feel like you get a good, like because you get familiar with your environment pretty quickly, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, where certain things are.
I feel like I have seen something or read something about somebody talking about this who was blind, about like what they their imagination or, you know, memories and how they are seen. Like I feel like there's still an experience of
absolutely. Yeah.
Seeing
For
without
sure.
Seeing,
Without
right?
seeing.
So, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. It's just one of those things sometimes I think about and I'm like, interesting. So I think that's us. That is it for us. I know we were all over the place a little bit, but that's what the energy's like right now.
And I was like, we have to kind of, it's so funny, Amy, you said that, because I was like, we have to bookend this somehow because we went off topic. And then you just said that. So we have a nice little bookend. But it's true. It's discombobulated was a word that came through.
Yeah, but you know, maybe we're feeling a bit discombobulated. That's okay. There's purpose in everything.
That is okay. Exactly. It's okay to be where you are at 100%.
It really is. It really is. And I do feel like the guidance that came through, you know, about the nourishing and the grounding and kind of going outside, getting outside and all of those things. And interesting too, because in that your card pull and the reading you brought up the feminine, right? So we talk about the flow and the receiving.
Yeah.
And, you know, mine was kind of talking about needing balance from like the strength and the push and the making things happen. And I truly feel as if this spring is a lot of momentum, like, you know, almost like, you know, the little carrots are being dangled and they're like, come on, you can have it. Which one do you want? And we're almost like, you know, like those, you know, you've ever seen on TV when somebody's in one of those boxes and the money just starts flying and the people are like this. It feels like that. It feels like that to me. It's like, you want this? Okay. You want this? You want this? What do you want?
What do you want? You've got to sort of make some
and it's almost like, because we're imbalanced a little bit, and maybe we don't have clarity. Like, I don't know which one I want, because what do I actually want rather than what like I think I want or other people think I want. So I'm just going to go crazy and like flail my arms and try to get everything rather than be like really like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, you like really purposeful, like when you have a plan about how to grab it.
Yeah.
Rather than just like grabbing everything. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%.
Populated.
No, but I everybody listening to this is probably like, I think you get it. I think the people get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, that's exactly how the energy sort of feels like. I think we have to make some decisions, but in order to make those decisions, if we're having a hard time, I think it's a, you know, grounding.
That's
exactly it. Right. Balance
like
yourself.
You can have all those things. The momentum's there. It is go get 'em tiger kind of energy. Yes. But but what are you actually pursuing and why?
Yes.
You really want to.
Ooh, I felt that in my gut, Amy.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's almost like becoming more streamlined and focused and realizing, it's almost like realizing you can get just as much if you are focusing on one stream rather than like, maybe you'll get less if you're all over the place. Right. Yes. I'm such a hands talker. If you're on YouTube, you can see
I'm sitting on my hands actually.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Amy will do enough hand talking for the both of us in this episode.
They say that if you talk with your hands too much, like in an interview, like you can sit on them.
Oh, do you think it's a considered like not a good thing to be a hands talker?
I don't think so.
I don't know.
In the YouTube thing that I did, I didn't notice this about myself, but as I was doing it, I was really expressing myself with my hands when I did that YouTube thing. So maybe I also feel like I
never realized that I was a hands talker until I started to like do things online and see myself. And I'm like, it's constantly going.
But do you think that's the energy? Now we're getting to another topic.
I don't know. I feel like very expressive people. When I witness somebody else who's a hands talker, usually I get excited by them. There's something about it. I just feel like they're really expressing. It's almost like being really passionate about what somebody's talking about. So for me personally, if I was interviewing somebody and they were a hands talker, I'd be like, that's my kind of person. Like, I don't know. It would just almost be maybe like a subconscious thing. Like, ooh, I like that person. They have energy. They're expressive. They're passionate.
Yeah.
Not to say if you're not a hands talker, you're not. It's just, I just noticed that it feels like an energetic something or other.
Hand stalker, my kind of people. I see you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know what this is if you're watching me on YouTube.
But you know what, too? Maybe it's a thing. Maybe it's a thing when you are in your correct place or doing something that feels really good to you. Maybe that's what it's about. Like maybe because I've witnessed people, you know, like big names. Oprah, for instance. Oprah uses her hands quite often. I think she's convicted. She's like really enjoying what she's doing.
Yeah.
Maybe it's something to do with that too.
It could be.
Yeah, it's interesting. Watch, I'm gonna like go down the rabbit hole now and be like, are
We're
there
gonna do Google
studies
hand stalker and spirit? Spirituality and hand stalking.
Absolutely. So that's it for us today. I hope you enjoyed this little bit of, you know, coffee talk. That's really what it feels like.
Yeah.
Around the table, coffee, water cooler, chat, and also the spring energy forecast for you. I hope that it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have anything on the go right now that you would like to plug or tell the people?
No, I've been so MIA from social media because I'm actually, this is my last week of school. Thank you. So I feel like, so after this weekend, I'll be out there a little bit more. I'm going to try to do another live because I've missed doing those. But otherwise, you guys can find me on social media, Soulwork. My website is emsoulwork.com. I do offer group readings and personal readings and mini readings that are pre-recorded and emailed to you, so you can check all that out.
Amazing. Yeah.
Amy, do you have anything to plug?
Yeah, I think so. I have a lot of stuff. I've been like really active lately. So I've got a new offering that's just about to launch. So and give you I'll give you a little sneak peek. It is, I think it will be launching next week. And it is all about kind of like a soul's purpose, North Node type reading. Cool. So it's a combination of astrology, channeled guidance, as well as a little bit about human design all wrapped up in one. Yeah. So I am really excited.
Nice. Oh, I'm so excited for that.
And I've been recording videos for YouTube more often. Yes. So on my own personal channel, I'm going to create like a little library of sorts of, you know, 8 to 12 minute snippets, quick facts about, you know, different things. Last week I did one about like what the difference between psychic and mediumship is. If you have any burning questions that you would, you know, if you're wanting an answer about something like, well, what's the difference about this? Or how can you do this? Or how can this happen? I send them on over to me, reach out, The Intuitive Rising, on all social media platforms, because I will create a video about it if it's something that's, you know, seems like I can answer. As well, what else am I doing? I created a blog on my website.
I saw that.
Yeah, so I'm going to be updating that weekly. Every weekend, there'll be a new one. Last week, I did kind of like the top 5 ways that you would know you're an empath, with a little bit of guidance in it. And then this week, I will be publishing one about some tips for empaths and boundaries, which is the perfect plug for episode 25, as we're going to be doing a little bit of talk about boundaries.
Yes.
Yeah, so stay tuned, and next week you will hear all about boundaries for empaths and really for everybody, but maybe a little bit of a focus on boundaries with empaths, or, you know, energy sensitive folk.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for listening and watching.
Take care. Bye, guys.
If you like what you're hearing, don't forget to give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, and tune in each week as we dish on all things spiritual.
Don't forget to like, comment on what you would like to hear us talk about next, and subscribe.